Hi, Scott back here. We're going to go over the frame today and what I had to do to it. I'm going to start from the back and work my way forward. We'll start with the, this is the back of the box. It's tied in just with some C-channel to the rear perch, the original perch here. And I did have to cut that one in half for the width of the box here. That gave me enough room for that. Rear bumper, you can see, is just flat stock that I had laying around going down. It goes down about 10 inches from there. You'll have to mock that up with the bed, and I just tied it into this original cross member here. Give it some strength with a piece of angle iron. Moving up, this is the platform for the wood. I'm using the original body mounts here. Now up here there's a perch that you'll have to cut off, the one right in front of the rear axle here. Cut that one off. The box itself, I'm just using just some 2-inch pipe with the angle iron. This is where the front of the box bolts across here. And it sits up from the frame about 5 inches. Yeah, about 5 inches. The back of the cab sits on the original mount with the original Trailblazer floor. Back of the cab, and same with the front of the cab. On the front of the cab, I am using a 1-inch body lift here just for clearance for the radiator. Get that up a little bit. And these Trailblazers dive down in the front anyway, and that helps that look. The running boards, nothing fancy, just angle iron, welded the frame. You just have to set them up there where you want to, tack them in place, and weld them. Now up front here is a little more complicated, but it's still not too bad. This here is the front perch that was up here. On the original frame comes out here, and there's a bar in between the two, about a 3-inch pipe. And I cut those off flush with the frame and moved them back and welded them on up here for my core support. And using the original body mounts. The core support itself sits about 9 inches. You can see I kind of left a little give space. I'd rather have it too short than too tall, so I can add shims if I need to on my height of my fenders. Where I cut the frame here is, if you look here with the sway bar link and the factory bracket where it bolts to, this is the front of it, and you cut the frame right at about, it looks like about 5 1/4 in front of that sway bar bracket. Got it here. And what I wind up doing is welding, these are just 2x2 square metal, welding all 3 of these together. You can see the bottom one's longer for the bumper, for that back bolt. And well, what I did was just weld all 3 of those together and set it up there. When you set it up there, what I wound up doing is putting 1 bolt here, so that those 3 blocks could turn like this. Because what you need to do is bolt the bumper up, because the bumper's not completely straight with those, and it won't bolt up right. So I left that just enough loose and then bolted it up, and then welded them up where it needed to be. So these brackets fit flush. And up front, I just boxed them in to make it look clean. This side of the frame, I did have to notch for the AC line here. You can see this side here is just boxed in. Plenty of room over here. You can see I got the power steering and tranny cooler, AC, condenser. I did have to shorten this line right here I think by about an inch or two. This side over here, I had to get a tubing bender and bend this around a little bit. The AC line, what it does is it comes up out here on the fender through my fender inner fender that I made, and then comes up and then back through the fender liner again, and goes back to the cab. I'll show you on that. It's right here. You can see this is the inner fender, where this is the front where the AC line comes through, bolts to these two brackets here, and then comes back through here and into the firewall. Now these inner fenders are just made with 2.5 inch flat stock, welded up like a T. This fits the contour of the fender here. I had to splice it here and make it tilt down a little bit, and this is just flat stock to start, you know, building all this on. And this is like 3 or 4 pieces just welded together. Yeah. Anyway. Now on the floor, you can see this is the original floor of the 52, and I got a 1 inch by 1 inch square tubing under the floor there, and up here you can see on the original floor here, and a 1 by 1 there. That gives me the right height for me. I'm about 5'10", so that's about the right height for seating, so your head don't hit the ceiling or you're not sitting in a lowrider. Now the back here, the back of the cab, you have to trim for the drive line and everything on the chassis. Now I did have to trim the corners a little bit too for the body mounts, so I could get it forward far enough. And you can see the floor here. This is the cross member behind the rear seat. When you flip the floor upside down, you cut that sucker right there on that, next to that cross member, and that's the length of the floor. That's the one, like I say. Your seats are here, and you can see the seat bolted. There's that cross member's right there, and that's about the size of the floor. And of course, you just have to trim everything up to get it in here. I don't think I had to trim up here, but I did have to add a little piece back here to fill in the space to get, it's not wide enough back here. So other than that, as far as mounting the body on the frame, or the cab on the frame, and this is just, these are what I welded on for my inner fenders and stuff. Now the grill, I did have to cut a little bit on the grill. You can see these, I welded these in here. They have a longer one. I was making room for the AC condenser and stuff. Not too much fabricating on that. A little bit on the upper core support. You can see I had to cut here, and I boxed that in. So there is a little trimming on those, not too much. And yeah, so these are the what's left of the original inner fenders. I just use those to go from the fenders to the grill and tie everything together. And these brackets here go up and bolt to those pieces I just showed you. You can see where it bolts here, the back of the grill and the side of that. That keeps your front end from flopping around and rattling. And these are the original fender brackets, just welded to my core support here with a piece of angle iron. You can see that. And that ties in. I did have to cut it a little short here, cut a little bit off, but that holds your front end tight on everything. And you can see I did put, like I said, the 3-inch lift kit. It's not really 3 inches, it's about 2.5, but I did put one of those on. I don't know if I need it or not, but anyway, that's about all the mods I had to do to the chassis. So we're gonna get to work on some Bondo now. We'll see you on the next video.